Now on CoastTV News.
An update from the 5 Points Working Group, the progress on projects planned around the area.
Keeping kids safe on social media, the announcement coming to Marylanders tomorrow.
Dagsboro making a decision on marijuana, yet a coastal town determining how to handle the sale and production of the now legal drug.
Giddy up, what led these ponies to be rounded up.
And frost advisory is in full effect for us tonight as the temps dig deep into the 30-degree pool of temperatures.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
5 Points update, DelDOT's plan to make roads safer. Good evening, I'm Charlie Sakaitis.
And I'm Mallory Metzner. Welcome to our news at 11. Projects in the 5 Points area took center stage tonight.
A committee that consists of members of DelDOT elected officials and more came together to discuss the changes around that high traffic and occasionally problematic intersection.
Coast TV's Charles Reinert shows us what has already been done in 5 Points and what is still to come.
Looking down at the 5 Points roundabout shows how far it has come along, but a transportation study working group says there is still more work to do. The group's facilitator, Andrew Bing, says there has been a lot of changes.
Some of them were operational type projects, signage and striping and things like that. Some of them were about transit and pedestrian and biking. So a lot really has taken place in this area.
This group has been focused on 5 Points since 2018 and consists of state and local elected officials, DelDOT engineers, and more. In the early phases of planning, the group targeted 78 different improvements for the area. Now, 67 out of those 78 projects have either been completed, are under construction, or are being planned.
Not every project is the big project that takes multiple years to complete. A lot of them are smaller projects that really do have a big impact on helping people get around the area, make things safer, make things easier to access things.
The group also discussed multiple pieces of legislation to make the roads safer, the plans in place for areas expected to grow in population, and the future of a biking master plan in Milton. All in hopes to make the road to tomorrow just a little less bumpy. The 5 Points Working Group plans to meet again this coming January in 2024. I'm Charles Reinert in Lewis, Coast TV News.
These are the next steps of the study. DelDOT says it will continue to work on recommendations to reduce congestion and improve the amount of cars on Route 1. Then in December, all DelDOT divisions and agency partners will meet to discuss the 50 projects for the plan. Then the 5 Points Working Group will meet up again to go over the transportation plan. That meeting is expected to be held on January 22nd at 6 p.m.
And this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what you think about the 5 Points progress. Let's take a look at the updated results from earlier this evening.
Looking at the screen, 53% say not enough, 21% say they are seeing the progress, 26% ask, is there any?
And if you want to vote in this, it's pretty easy to do. Go to coasttvnews.com or you can use our Coast TV mobile app. New tonight, the Dagsboro Town Council voted to ban the sale and the production of marijuana. They did not take any public comment at the meeting tonight, but this decision is final. Coast TV talked to a few people who live in the area this evening to get their opinion, including one man who was on the fence about it.
I have a son who is retired from the military who uses it for medical purposes, so it does have a reason to prevent people from getting into the narcotic side of things for pain killing. But the fact of the matter is, where do you want to put it if nobody wants it in the towns, because local towns have already spoke out against it.
Other towns in Sussex County like Bethany and Dewey already have bans in place. Dagsboro's neighbor Millsboro will have a public hearing about marijuana bans in their early November session.
Taking a live look outside into our Hershey Exteriors camera at the 45th Street Tap House in Ocean City. Cold out there right now, and it's supposed to get even colder overnight. Our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a look at our weather. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Mallory. What we have here is a frosty situation. So frosty, indeed, that we have a frost advisory that's in effect for us in our area for Dorchester as well as Wacomico. Now, we also have that frost advisory that's in effect for Sussex as well. So we're talking about places like Milford, Bridgeville, Seaford, Laurel, Millsboro, as well as Milton and WRDE. But you'll notice at Rehoboth Beach and Ocean View, not quite there. But see that sliver of brown you see here? That's indicating that just right along the beach properties, that's where we don't have the frost advisory in effect. But all other areas, yes, all the inland areas, including Dorchester, Wacomico, and Worcester. That's going to stay in effect until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. But then after that, we start a really interesting warming trend that the end result is going to be something that you're really going to like, especially the timing of it. Here's the hint. Saturday. Mallory?
Paul, thank you. Protecting kids from harm online. Tomorrow, Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown is planning to make a big announcement about what the state is calling a significant enforcement action. The Attorney General is hosting a press conference at 1 p.m. It will also be streamed on Facebook.
I'm Madeline Overturf. Here's a look at just some of the things happening across Delmarva. In Lewis, plans to improve the 5 Points intersection moving forward with Plantation Road. On Thursday, DelDOT will announce detour routes, project specifications, and the construction timeline of those improvements. Plantation Road closed for 6 months. The next phase starts in November. Former Mayor Jake Day is back in Salisbury, now Maryland's Housing and Community Secretary. Day will speak to Salisbury University students this week about creating, quote, lovable places and opportunity for all in Maryland. And after being on the run and breaking through fences, Chincoteague Stallion Riptide and all of his mares have been rounded up. Saltwater Cowboys, though, they are going to fix that broken fence in the refuge. That's a look at just some of the things happening across Delmarva. I'm Madeline Overturf.
President Biden making new statements tonight as the U.S. is moving more military assets to the Middle East. Meanwhile, Israel has intensified strikes into Gaza.
Humanitarian aid is finally rolling into the region, and tonight sources confirm Hamas has released 2 more hostages, but as Alice Barr reports, hundreds more remain held against their will.
As Israel steps up its air assault across the Gaza Strip with what's widely considered the most intense night of bombardment yet, the Biden administration is advising Israel to delay a ground invasion of Gaza to allow more time to get hostages out and humanitarian aid in. That's according to 4 U.S. officials, though the White House is drawing a sharp line.
The Israeli Defense Forces, they make their own decisions. They decide what they're going to do and when they're going to do it.
Israeli officials are vowing to destroy Hamas after its brutal terror attack. President Biden asked today whether he would support a ceasefire in exchange for the release of hostages.
We should have those hostages released, and then we can talk.
The U.S. is boosting its military presence in the Middle East, trying to keep the conflict from spreading. As Israel and Iran trade warnings, Hezbollah increases attacks from Lebanon into Israel, and U.S. military bases in Iraq and Syria see an uptick in drone attacks.
We are now sending more air defenses to U.S. air bases in the region.
Better news to the south, where aid trucks are finally flowing from Egypt into Gaza, bringing desperately needed food, water, and medicine as humanitarian agencies plead for more supplies, including fuel.
The needs are huge, they're overwhelming, and they're growing by the hour.
After the release of 2 American hostages, and now NBC News confirming 2 more hostages being set free, fresh hope for the anguished families of what Israel says are at least 222 hostages held by Hamas.
I just hope that they will bring him home and my soul will come back to me.
Qatar helping mediate negotiations as world leaders try to keep a lid on boiling tensions. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A spokesperson for the National Security Council said today that the U.S. military would be ready to, quote, respond decisively as needed, unquote, if the conflict were to escalate, noting that the U.S. will not, quote, allow any threat to our interest in the region to go unchallenged.
Back here at home in Fenwick Island, they're making headway towards a much-needed dredging project. The town had a meeting about that project this afternoon. The town is seeking public participation to receive dredging permits. The committee today talking about that, the timing of the final permits, and the placement of materials on Route 54 as it shoulders the Assawoman Bay. There are still some next steps for this project, including determining who will actually do the work, and that is a process all in its own.
Receive the bids, evaluate the bids, and then provide a recommendation to the town as to who the most suitable contractor to perform the work is.
The final deadline for public comment on this project falls at the end of the month on Halloween.
We want to let our viewers know that for some households that watch Coast TV News with an antenna, you may tomorrow experiencing losing the over-the-air signal of the broadcast. There are some technical changes occurring tomorrow that may require this temporary outage. A simple rescan for available channels, that'll get Coast TV News back up on your television lineup. And we are just getting started tonight.
That's right, litter on the beach in Lewis, the idea that could keep trash where it belongs, and the simple advice one little girl has for everyone.
Tonight, the weather challenge will be staying warm, but by the end of the week, you may have to turn on your air conditioner. I'll explain why in the full forecast.
And coming up next, this land in Fenwick Island is causing frustration. The concerns being raised about a proposed housing development coming to the area. We're going to be back in just 60 seconds.
Whether you need performance, efficiency, or capability, there's a stylish and affordable Toyota Corolla for you. With fully connected tech, you can take charge of your drive. Right now, buy a Corolla with low APR financing. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
The Carl M. Freeman Companies proposed to build a hotel and restaurant off Route 54 about 2 years ago, but that proposal was rejected by the Sussex County Council. From our Coast Copter, you can see the 9-acre parcel of land up for discussion again at the intersection of Route 54 and Bennett Road. According to planning and zoning documents, the Freeman Companies are now asking to rezone this land from agricultural residential to medium-density residential. They're also seeking conditional use to approve to build 23 multifamily dwellings on the property. One business owner says he isn't against growth, but still has concerns.
I think we really need to hit the brakes when it comes to a lot more development in our area. And until we get a real grasp on our infrastructure, it's not sustainable, in my opinion.
We've reached out to the Freeman Companies for comment, but did not hear back. The Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission will discuss the Freeman Companies' proposals this Thursday at 4 p.m.
Trash on the beach, litter bugs. It's a growing problem in Lewis. As Coast TV News reporter Tori Seagraves explains, this is one of those things where the solution, it might be pretty simple.
6-year-old Eliana Clark walks Savannah Beach with her mom. But what should be a gorgeous stroll has been obscured by garbage.
I saw that broken spoon over there, and I also found this rubber thing that looks like it's from a car wheel. And there's also some litter over there.
And that's not the only thing littering the area. Dog owner Patrick O'Leary says he notices dog poop in the sand as well, and that's despite the risk of fines up to $500.
I'm very cognizant of picking his up, and if I do see anything else up, if I have extra bags, I'll do that as well.
So what's the solution? Well, O'Leary thinks it could be as simple as adding more trash cans.
Recycling, trash cans, etc. I think that would be both to benefit the public, to be able to have a source to be able to discard certain things, yeah.
And as is often the case, sometimes the best advice comes out of the mouths of babes.
How does it make you feel when you see trash on the beach?
Bad.
What do you want people to do instead?
Clean it up.
The city of Lewis asks that if you bring any trash onto the beach, that you also take it off the beach with you and put it in one of the provided trash cans. Or if you have a larger item that's left on the beach, like this crab trap, you have until October 31st until it is disposed of. I'm Tori Seagraves in Lewis, Coast TV News.
The holiday season will be here before we know it, and that means the return of Draper Media's Bless Our Children campaign. Through generous donations from businesses and individuals, we do our best to make sure every child has a present to open Christmas morning. We do that by supporting nonprofits that handpick families in need. Applications are due October 31st.
We have a lot of chill, a lot of cold in the air for right now. And I know you've heard me say it's going to feel like summer by the end of the week. And taking a look at tonight, you might think, the weatherman's crazy. Well, you wouldn't be the first one to call me that, first of all. Secondly, no, the numbers don't lie. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about in just a moment. Now, we take a look. Frost advisory is in effect for tonight. We are under the influence of a high pressure system. We have light winds, and the winds primarily coming out of the north. And when you put that combination together, we have the frost advisory that's in effect for us because we just have perfect conditions for that. Now, this is going to stay in effect until 9 o'clock for tomorrow morning. But after that, we'll have a lot of sunshine that'll kind of thaw us out, and then it'll get us going down the proper road to that summer-like thing I've been hinting and talking about so much in the forecast throughout this evening. Here's that high pressure system. You see that clockwise rotation? That's going to bring in the winds coming out of the north. There's nothing like a cold breeze out of the north tapping into much more arid or drier cold air, bringing it on top of us, along with clear skies and along with light winds that can make for a very chilly night. So long sleeves and a hat and a warm beverage because it remains chilly for our evening checklist. It feels like the 40s everywhere. Feels like 40 degrees even right now in Greenwood. For the lows tonight, we'll drop back into the 30s. 36 in Georgetown and Millsboro, 39 in Milford, 35 in Seaford and Laurel. Just as a couple of examples, 36 in Vienna, 35 in Federalsburg, and then we'll go up to about, let's say, 39 degrees in places like Berlin, Snow Hill, and Pocomoke City. So everybody's going to have their fair share of the cold air tonight. Now, tomorrow's when the worm begins to turn a bit for us. 56 degrees by 10 o'clock in the morning with the winds out of the north, but still calm. Now, you'll notice the winds shift directions. This is out of the north here, the arrow, okay, in case you wondered why is the arrow changing. This is indicating the wind's coming out of the south, and we warm into the 60s kind of nicely. You see, what's happening is we're looking at sunshine by Tuesday afternoon. It'll help us warm to the 60s. Wednesday, we start off near 50 degrees, and then we jump to like the 70s. You see all these arrows coming out of the south here, or out of the bottom of your screen, indicating a strong flow out of the south, and that sets us up for warm weather. So warm that, wait a minute, my map skipped. Act like you didn't see that part, okay? All right, go. Now, there we go. Okay, take two. Here we go. So warm that it actually pushes the temperatures up to 77 degrees on Thursday, 78 on Friday, and 81 glorious degrees on Saturday. What you saw was just a glitch in the matrix. It really didn't happen. Back to you.
81 degrees, I am enjoying that. Still to come, the atomic boom in this tourism national park after this year's big bang at the box office.
But first, sounds of the opera brought to the Milford community, why the city believes it's an important art to offer.
New updated COVID vaccines are now available. This updated COVID vaccine protects you from the Omicron variant XBB, currently one of the most common variants. No matter how many previous vaccines you have received, you should get the new COVID vaccine. Antibodies from previous doses may have gone down, no longer providing protection. Everyone 5 years and older should get one updated COVID vaccine. Those 6 months through 4 years should get 1 to 3 doses, depending on previous doses and manufacturer. Evening and Saturday appointments are available. Call La Red Health Center today.
We decided to do upgrades on our house that we had built ourselves. We were looking for a particular company that would be on the same page we were as far as craftsmanship and take pride in a job well done. Now we're having the bathroom done, and we went with Spicer Brothers. I've never seen anything as fast and as efficient.
Unbelievable how quick he is, and for a one-man show.
He has a passion for his craft, and he's so efficient. We're just so tickled to death to have him.
So before you sign, keep Bath by Spicer Brothers in mind.
Your house is safe, clean, and dry from top to bottom. Or is it? Your crawl space can become damp, dark, and musty, an unhealthy situation. Braziers will safeguard your home from the bottom up with our crawl space encapsulation. We completely clean out and dry the space, seal the ground and walls, and install a dehumidifier to make sure it stays nice and dry. You'll love having safe, usable space, and your home will be healthier and more energy efficient too. Call Braziers now for your free inspection. Your home will thank you.
The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. With the legendary capability of the Outback, you'll never run out of new places to explore. Every Outback is made to last, so you can rely on it no matter where your adventures take you. Right now, lease the new 2024 Subaru Outback Onyx Edition for only $299 a month. Or take advantage of financing rates as low as 4.9%. Gateway Subaru is committed to providing the best car buying experience on the shore. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
An opera singer expressing emotion through music in the city of Milford. That performance was offered to the Milford community by a new partnership between Opera Delaware and the city. The city wants to expand its artistic horizons while also attracting more visitors, which is a part of its long-term goals. Amanda Albanese says she's excited to experience opera in her city.
The fact that we're listening to something in a language that we don't necessarily understand, but we can sense the emotion through the way the artists convey it is just a really unique experience.
Opera Delaware will be performing next in Milford on November 17th at Benvenuto. The city says it hopes to bring more performances from the opera company in the future.
In entertainment news, the SAG-AFTRA strike is now more than 3 months old. The union says it's going to hold its next round of negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers tomorrow, Tuesday, October 24th. The two sides reportedly are at odds over a number of issues that include revenue sharing, salary, and the use of artificial intelligence.
And call it the Oppenheimer effect as thousands flocked to one of America's most remote national parks over the weekend. Cars lined up early to get into the Trinity site at White Sands National Park in New Mexico. The site of the first atomic bomb detonation is only open to the public twice a year. The summer release of the movie Oppenheimer made the open house a hot ticket. The tour included the McDonald House, where the core was put in the world's first atomic bomb.
And it is so incredible being here. Being in this little crater, just knowing that this is the site where human history changed forever.
About 3,000 people visited this weekend. Your next opportunity won't be until April 2024.
Coming up in sports, the Phillies are one win away from the World Series, but could they hold off Arizona from this evening's series? The highlights are next.
And next, look out for deer. DNREC is urging drivers to be careful on the roads now that we've reached mating season.
Wherever you're headed this fall, there's a Ford SUV ready to take you there. With advanced tech, spacious interiors, and impressive off-road capabilities, you'll discover why more people keep coming back to Ford SUVs than any other brand. Right now, get 2.9% financing for 60 months plus up to $1,750 on select Ford SUVs only at your local Ford dealer.
I'm ready for this ride. Hey, Linda, come check out my bathroom remodel. I'm having it done by those guys on TV. They do everything. Paint me green and call me a cucumber. I thought they was gonna spice up your bathroom, Cletus. You should have called Peninsula Bath.
Listen, Linda, you made the right choice.
At Peninsula Bath, we do bathroom remodeling, and that's it. Top quality, competitively priced, and customer focused. And ready when you are.
Thank you, Peninsula Bath.
Rekindle your romance with Draper Media Radio. Solve the password to the Poconos and you could win a weekend getaway for two. Get all the rules and details at these stations' websites and be sure to tune in to any of these Draper Media Radio stations to win.
At Just Comfort Shoes, the Birkenstock store, we love hearing your Birken stories.
We've traveled the world in our Birkenstocks.
Our whole family lives in our Birkenstocks.
Birkenstocks have been part of my life for over 20 years.
Locally owned and operated, Just Comfort Shoes is the only Birkenstock specialty store in Delaware, offering the widest selection and latest styles, including exclusive limited editions.
And we offer superior service and expert fitting.
Visit Just Comfort Shoes in our 2 Rehoboth Beach locations and start your Birken story today.
Are you ready for a floor upgrade right now? Floor Coverings International can be at your home for a free estimate today. Browse carpet, tile, wood, and the area's best selection of LVP waterproof flooring, all from the comfort of your own home. You'll love our factory direct prices and white glove installation service. The best flooring store on the shore is the flooring store at your door. Call the number on your screen now to book your free in-home appointment with Floor Coverings International today.
On the next Tamron Hall, for over 10 years, hosts of MTV's hit show Catfish thought they'd seen it all. Why they say AI is changing the game and it's hard for even them to keep up. Next Tamron Hall.
Tuesday at 3 on Coast TV.
DNREC is urging drivers to be cautious on the road, especially after November 5th, when daylight saving time begins and it becomes darker earlier outside. The advisory is due to the white-tailed deer mating season, known as rut. That is set to start in late October and go through December. During those months, DelDOT says dusk and dawn are when deer are most active. The agency is reminding drivers to be extra careful on back roads and or when driving by woodlands and forests.
Many working Americans are or will soon be choosing their employer-provided health plan during open enrollment. But looking in at affordable health care, locking it in rather, may be tough to do as premiums soar. In today's Consumer Watch, Laura Aguirre has more on what to consider when making your health plan selection.
The cost of family health insurance is basically the cost of a new car, a new small car, but still a new car.
Matthew Ray co-authored KFF's recent survey on employer health benefits. He says the average annual family plan now costs nearly $24,000, and workers are paying more for their share after their companies foot the rest of the bill.
So to enroll a family of 4, on average, you're paying about $6,500. Workers at smaller firms are paying more than $12,000.
Those price points represent an average increase of around $500. For single coverage, the tab for employees is about $1,400 a year, a $75 bump. But Ray does have some pointers on choosing a healthcare plan going forward.
If you anticipate having health needs, if you have chronic health conditions, then you may want to have a plan with lower cost sharing. That's lower deductibles, copays, and co-insurances. Alternatively, if you're relatively healthy, you may want to pay less money up front, and you may want to go for a plan that has a lower premium contribution.
There's also the annual out-of-pocket maximum. And once that's met, most plans cover services 100% for the rest of the year.
If you think you're going to have a big expense of the year with multiple services, then an out-of-pocket maximum will kind of protect you from having huge expenses.
And protection from huge expenses is one choice everyone would like to make. For Consumer Watch, I'm Laura Aguirre.
Ray cites inflation and a rush of post-pandemic healthcare demand as key factors in the soaring premiums, adding that it probably won't level off anytime soon.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good evening, sports fans, to ESEAC Conference action, a cross-state battle on the soccer pitch. A great crowd on senior night for Salisbury Christian as they take on Delmarva Christian in boys soccer. 3-zip Royals when we get there. Shot on goal, but the Jaguars keeper collects it. No problem. And Salisbury Christian's defense would turn into offense. Off the corner, Connor Owens to his teammate. 1 times it in. That would bring the Jaguars within 2. But that was too close for comfort for the Royals. Jay Parrish is there in the perfect place at the perfect time. And Delmarva Christian would go on to win 7-2. To the postseason, the Phillies up 3-2 on the Diamondbacks and only 1 win away from the World Series. Game 6 back at Citizens Bank Park in Arizona takes the lead early in the second with 2 solo home runs and an RBI double by Evan Longoria. D-backs ahead by 3. In the bottom of the second, Brandon Marsh drives a base hit to right That sends JT Realmuto home from second. He crosses the plate, and then Marsh moves to second. The Phils are on the board, trailing 3-1. But that's unfortunately the most exciting part of the night for Phillies fans, as Arizona scores 2 more runs and Merrill Kelly gets 8 Ks on the night. The Diamondbacks win 5-1, forcing Game 7. Tomorrow night will be the first time ever the Phillies play in Game 7 in the NLCS. First pitch is set for 8:07 p.m. tomorrow. And make sure to download the Delmarva Sports Network app and follow us on social for highlights from the Girls Soccer Bayside Championship tonight. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night.
Some serious nerves there for all the Philly fans out there. Let's take another look at our Coast TV poll. We want to know what you think about the 5 points progress. So far, leading the way all day really has been not enough progress. About 22% are saying, I'm seeing it, and about 26% say, is there any at all? Well, you can vote in this poll. It's pretty easy to do. Go to CoastTVnews.com or go to the Coast TV mobile app.
Fare thee well. This Renaissance-themed event returns this weekend after a successful first year. What it has to offer on Halloween weekend.
NBC Nightly News, weeknights at 6:30 on Coast TV.
Rural communities are on the front lines of a changing climate. Farmers can implement climate-smart practices that improve soil health, nutrient management, and energy efficiency. These practices improve our profitability, resiliency, and help to open new markets.
We know voluntary conservation works and are committed to working with farmers and forest landowners to leverage resources to increase climate resiliency through conservation practices. To learn more about climate-smart practices, scan this QR code to find your local USDA service center.
I love my basement. It's my space, where I can get things done. Peace and quiet, privacy. Sometimes I work pretty late after my wife goes to bed.
Babe? Hey, babe?
Oh.
Yeah?
Is there any water in the basement?
No, honey, everything's fine down here. No water. I don't see any water anywhere.
Dry Zone can keep your basement safe and dry for all of your hobbies. Life can be scary. Your basement doesn't have to be. Contact us today.
Tomorrow at 4 on Coast Life, boost your confidence and empower yourself with our vital Get Home Safely self-defense tips. Then all you need to know about the Parker Group's enticing event November 2nd. Coast Life tomorrow at 4 on Coast TV.
Find your dream vehicle during the Jeep Adventure Days right here at Preston Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram of Millsboro. Scan this QR code to receive your exclusive offer. This month, you could get 10% off of the MSRP of a 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe plug-in hybrid. You'll also receive our Preston for Life lifetime engine guarantee. Shop our entire inventory online and enjoy the convenience of home delivery. So join us during the Jeep Adventure Days right here at Preston Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. And remember, cars cost less with Preston.
Keep up with local sports all from one app. From your mobile device to Fire Stick, Roku, and Apple TV. Download the DSN app today. Driven by Preston Automotive Group.
Huzzah! The Delaware Renaissance Fair returns this weekend. Organizers say there will be juggling, sword fighting, interactive shows, unicorn rides, carnival games, and more. Opening weekend includes Halloween-themed activities and trick-or-treating. That's this Saturday and Sunday. It's held at Firebase Lloyd in Townsend, Delaware. The inaugural Dela Fair drew in 3,000 attendees and sold out last year, so get your tickets sooner rather than later.
I like the harp player. That looks very nice. Bring, bring, bring. All right, here we go. Umbrella giveaway winner is Terry Bell of Milton. Congratulations to you, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Here's a look at your exclusive 10-day Coast TV forecast. Listen, I know we have the frost advisory for tonight. I get that. I feel your pain because I got to go home in it right now anyway. So I got that part. But after we get past tonight, because that ends at 9 o'clock in the morning, look at where we go. 68, then to 74 on Wednesday, then 77 on Thursday, 78 on Friday, and a glorious 81 degrees on Saturday. Now, it's going to get cooler back when we get to, let's say, Halloween, but it's supposed to be cold and chilly and clammy and creepy on Halloween. So, everything is, as the Joker says, according to plan.
81 degrees makes me go, huzzah! I was just jealous.
Huzzah.
I was jealous I didn't get to say it. Thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is up next. We'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.